Good morning. It's the principal and me. Good morning. No, I gotta go like this. Good morning and welcome to Neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Church in Pasadena. Welcome to all members, friends, and guests. My name is Nadia Hillman and I serve as the secretary on your board of trustees. I'm also happy to serve as your worship associate today. So Neighborhood Church creates and grows an inclusive community of faith connected by love, spirit, and service. We acknowledge our presence on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Gabrielino, Tongva peoples, the traditional caretakers of the lands and waters of this campus. We acknowledge our harmful colonial histories and commit to decolonizing our own practices, to learning new ways of being in community with each other and with the land itself. Today's service is led by Dr. Omega Burkhart. Music is led by Dr. Zenaida Robles with our neighborhood chorus and Wells Lang. Today we also have a special musical guests, the Bel Canto Treble Choir from Harper Westlake School. Please take a moment to silence your devices as we begin our service. Families with young children are always welcome in the sanctuary, and there is an additional play area for the very youngest in our narthex. For adults and older youth who don't need assistance, there is a quiet crafting table close to the organ. So I have a few brief announcements that's in smaller fonts. Today, our children and youth will start in our sanctuary. After the time for all ages, they will proceed together to Ross Chapel for an all ages day. Make sure to register your children for their classes or sign up on a visitor form so we can have your emergency contact information. After today's service, Third Sunday Theology will take place starting at 11:20 here in the sanctuary. Please note that this is a location change from what was previously posted. Today's topic is a Unitarian Universalist position on white Christian nationalism. After the service, it's not funny, but I just, not funny. After the service, grab a coffee and stretch your legs and come back into the sanctuary for this conversation. Childcare is available. Make sure to sign your children out of their classes after the service and then sign them into the childcare in Ross Chapel with El Moss. Up next is Ginger Fury with a special announcement. Ginger.
Good morning, neighborhood. My name is Ginger Fury. Good to see all of you. I am the director of Congregational Life. It is my pleasure to be a part of this staff team and work in close collaboration with Reverend Omega, Elle, Zenaida, and our entire team to support engagement and church programming. I also currently serve as our young adult coordinator, leading a group for folks in their 20s and 30s. While I wear many hats at Neighborhood, the nurturing, sustaining, and growing of our membership is a large priority. As Unitarian Universalists, we are a non-creedal faith, meaning we are not going to tell you what you must believe. Rather, we are a covenantal faith. We focus on how we are in relationship with one another. Being a member of Neighborhood Church means you are choosing to commit to honor, engage, and give to one another and our institution, to live out our shared values together, and to share your authentic self with this community, contributing your time, skills, and resources. Choosing to be a member of this church means you are in this with us, and we are so glad that you are. Over the past few weeks, we have been so delighted to see many new faces among us. Welcome, and we are glad that you are here. Your unique gifts, talents, and heart is needed and welcomed here. If you have been visiting us regularly, now is a wonderful time to consider becoming an official member and entering into this covenantal relationship with us. This also allows you to fully participate in all of our wonderful activities and programs that we offer. The process for membership includes scheduling a one-on-one meeting with myself, a meeting with Reverend Omega, completing some paperwork, and culminates in a beautiful ceremony. We highly encourage you to start this process by attending one of our new to UU classes. Myself and Reverend Omega will be leading one next Sunday, September 28th, directly after the service in the living room, which is in the building next door. If you have any questions, please know I am here to support you in your spiritual journey and would be glad to speak with you afterwards outside in the narthex. Today's third Sunday Theology is also a great opportunity for newcomers to learn about Unitarian Universalism, how we live out those values in our world, and to hear a little bit about our history as well. So please attend that in the sanctuary. For those of you who have been members for years or perhaps even decades, I would encourage you to reflect upon our covenant as we begin this new church year together. What part do you play? Where can you lean in this year? I look forward to continuing to center love on this journey with you all. If you're ready to become a new member or are thinking about becoming a new member, we welcome you with open arms, and I'll see you next Sunday after service. Thank you.
Our order of service this morning is available as a link in the Sunday email and online by scanning the QR code on the back of your hymnal with your phone camera. Again, welcome to Neighborhood Church, an inclusive faith community connected by love, spirit, and service.
Unitarian church member Clyde Derrick created the Neighborhood Unitarian Church Endowed Fund for Racial Justice to ensure that racial justice would always be a component of Neighborhood Church's spiritual and social justice fabric. The Endowed Fund is a testament to the values Clyde and Neighborhood Church place on racial justice as expressed through positive action and artistic expression. The stewardship of the endowment is shared between our social justice programs, currently spearheaded by Reverend Omega, also Neighborhood People of Color, and myself as the music director. Funds from the endowment were used most recently to purchase the music scores for today's service. And I am so delighted to welcome my students from Bel Canto, the premier high school choir for sopranos and altos at Harvard-Westlake. With support from this church, I have been able to share the wonderful legacy of Frances Ellen Watkins Harper with my students, and today they will share what they've learned with all of you.
We gather today to celebrate the life of Frances Ellen Watkins Harper, writer, suffragist, abolitionist, and one of our early Unitarian ancestors. She was one of the first published African-American poets in the United States, and today some of the pieces of music that you will hear performed by the Bel Canto Choir are based on her readings and writings. Her legacy is far-reaching, influencing our work here at this church and beyond, even today. Or perhaps I should say, especially today, as our country and region once again grapples with racial justice and equity for all people. I'm the Reverend Dr. Omega Burkhardt, and I serve as senior minister of this church. I am a white woman in my early 50s with silvering short hair. Today I wear a blue robe and my colorful stole. I use she, they, and ella pronouns when I speak in Spanish. Frances Ellen Watkins Harper is not one of my biological ancestors, but she is a cultural and spiritual ancestor, a foremother in a tradition, in a religious tradition, and of the world of which I am a part. I am honored today to lead this service along with members of this community in celebration of her life and the continuing work of connecting with and reconciling our Unitarian and Universalist history here in Pasadena, in this church, and beyond. During the latter part of the service today, you'll also hear how the work of Neighborhood Unitarian Universalist Church's Truth and Reconciliation Committee continues. This committee, as many of you know, over the course of several years has wrestled with the problematic history of a community member from this church, Caltech professor Robert Millikan, whose racialized program of eugenics was morally corrupt and reprehensible. This is a complicated and painful subject and may bring up trauma for you. I encourage you to reach out to me after the service or a member of our pastoral care team if you need additional support. Today's service is in the spirit of belonging, in the spirit of gathering to honor the work of our sister ancestor Frances, to celebrate her ongoing legacy of justice for every person. We gather here in this aspiration that her work gives us courage and nourishment to continue to reconcile and repair what harm others have caused, what we have caused. Today we gather in joy of this community that allows us and encourages us to be dauntless in centering love.
This quote by Frances Harper is from a speech she made at the 1866 National Women's Rights Convention in New York, where a primary topic of discussion was the proposed 15th Amendment to the Constitution, guaranteeing newly freed Black men the right to vote. Some women worried that this would delay or prevent the vote for women, although this would eventually divide the suffrage movement. Frances believed that women of both races needed to unite to fight for the vote for everyone. And I quote, "We are all bound up together in one great bundle of humanity, and society cannot trample on the weakest and feeblest of its members without receiving the curse in its own soul."
As we begin our gathering this morning, I invite you into a moment of centering. This has been, as many weeks are of recent, a difficult week for many. I invite you to come into this space holding that complexity, holding the pain, holding grief, and if you can also remember, hold the joys that you may have experienced this week. Breathing in deeply, finding that breath all the way to your center, and exhaling. We'll share a moment in silence together. May this sense of community, of stillness, and of peace help nourish you in the days to come.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, number 1026, If Every Woman in the World.
Dream the sweet dream.
this time, we'd like to invite all the children, youth, young folks, people who identify as young folks, and adults who want to join us. Come on up for the time for all ages.
Yeah, we're kind of towards this side. Everybody have a seat? Wonderful. So this morning I'm trying to make sure everyone can hear me because I've heard are we good? Better? Wonderful. This morning we're reading a book called I Am Enough by Grace Byers. The pictures are by Keturah A. Bobo. Like the sun, I'm here to shine. Like the voice, I'm here to sing. Like the bird, I'm here to fly and soar high over everything. Like the trees, I'm here to grow. Like the mountains, I'm here to stand. Like me, I'm here to be and be everything I can. Like the champ, I'm here to fight. Like the heart, I'm here to love. Like a ladder, here to climb, and like the air, to rise above. Like the wind, I'm here to push. Like a rope, I'm here to pull. Like the rain, I'm here to pour and drip and fall until I'm full. Like the moon, I'm here to dream. Like the student, here to learn. Like the water, here to swell. Like the fire, here to burn. Like the winner, I'm here to win. And if I don't, get up again. I know that I may sometimes cry, but even then, I'm here to try. I'm not meant to be like you. You're not meant to be like me. Sometimes we will get along, and sometimes we will disagree. I know that we don't look the same. Our skin, our eyes, our hair, our frame. But that does not dictate our worth. We both have places here on earth. And in the end, we are right here to live a life of love, not fear. To help each other when it's tough, to say together, I am enough. So that's our book today by Grace Byers. I'll leave this on the lifespan education table in case anyone wants to take a look. So we are going to, in just a minute, rise. But what I'd like to ask is, could you help put away the pats? We'll all work together to do that, and then we're all gonna sing them out.
Each Sunday, our congregation dedicates 100% of its contributions to 501(c) organizations or neighborhood church-based social justice activities that are making a difference in our community and in our world. You can donate in one of two ways. You can use your cell phone to donate by texting the number on the screen, or if you'd prefer to donate in person, put your donation in one of the designated boxes during the music or after the service. There is a donation box here in the front, behind the back center row, and in the narthex entryway on the table. You may rise during the music to put your donation in the box if you wish. Please extend help to those in your neighborhood who may need assistance reaching the donation boxes. If you wish to make a payment toward your pledge or contribute to church operations, make a note in the subject line or use an envelope available at the donation boxes. This week, our gifts will support Planned Parenthood of Pasadena and the San Gabriel Valley. Today, to tell us more is Nellie Sims, Director of Philanthropy.
Oh my goodness, thank you, thank you, thank you. This place feels so welcoming and warm and wonderful. Thank you for having us. Thank you for your generosity and your idea of sharing the plate with nonprofits in the area. I'm really proud to be here today representing Planned Parenthood, our local Planned Parenthood of Pasadena and the San Gabriel Valley. I'm, as Nadia said, the Director of Philanthropy, so I work with our donors, and I get to work with them in a special way because I assist people with their estate planning, and those donors who want to leave Planned Parenthood a gift in their will or their trust. So that's the kind of work that I do, but our primary work is reproductive and sexual health care, which we provide to, I think it's now between 62 and 63,000 people in our area. So we are like you in many ways. We've been here for a while. We have a long history. We're very proud of the work we do, and we treat people equally and with a whole care of the person in mind. And you probably already know that we're a large part of the fabric of healthcare in the Pasadena area and actually in the entire nation. So we serve these 62,000+ patients from 5 clinics that we operate in the area. The clinics are in Pasadena, Alhambra, Baldwin Park, Highland Park, and Glendora. And I think the statistic that always wows me more than any other when I think about the work of Planned Parenthood is that 1 in 3 women in California have used or are using Planned Parenthood for their health care. The services that we offer, and I'll list off some of these, the services that we offer include STI tests and treatments, HIV testing. You might be interested to know that about 20% of our clients are men. HPV vaccine and testing, testing and treatment for many kinds of infections, pregnancy tests, birth control cycles, many kinds of tests and treatments for infections, breast screenings and mammograms, and we provide the service that you probably have heard about. We provide, as a part of our health care, abortions. Abortions have a way of getting all the attention, it would seem. So if you've been watching the news, you know that our life-saving services and education are under attack. They are under serious attack. The reconciliation bill also known as the Big Beautiful Bill, that the president signed on the 4th of July actually defunds, Planned Parenthood. Planned Parenthood specifically was defunded because we provide abortions in states where they're legal. Our attorneys were able to postpone the defunding a little. We did a temporary restraining order, and then we were able to put in place a preliminary injunction. But then finally, about 2 weeks ago, the appellate court ruled that those blocking measures could not stay. And so about 2 weeks ago, we literally became defunded. And what that means is that we're not accessible to Medicaid, or Medi-Cal, as it's known in California, any longer. Our patients cannot use their Medi-Cal to pay for services at Planned Parenthood. And you should know that about 75% of our patients are Medi-Cal patients. So this was a devastating, devastating blow to us. The bottom line is we are not closing our doors. We are fighting. Thank you very much. I have to tell you, you guys are so on top of things. I've had two people just mention to me that they donate to Planned Parenthood, and they were so glad it's going to the local Planned Parenthood. At any rate, we're not closing our doors, we're fighting back, but this threat is like nothing we've ever seen before. This threat really does threaten our existence. We have a long history, as I mentioned, just like your church has a long history. We were founded, not as early as you were, but we were founded in 1933 as the very first Planned Parenthood affiliate in California. And we've been through some tough fights. We went through the fires with our loved ones and patients, just like you went through the fires. And we've been through a lot of battles over the years, but not one that threatened our very existence like this threat does. So I will close on that and just say that obviously, and needless to say, we really appreciate your generosity and thoughtfulness at this particular time. Thank you again for having us and for sharing your plate with Planned Parenthood. Thank you.
Thank you for giving generously.
Till Good morning. Frances Ellen Watkins Harper was born on September 24th, 1825, to parents who were freed slaves in Baltimore, Maryland. She received a formal education that included the classics through her uncle's school until age 13, when she had to start working. Frances, an avid reader, found a job at a bookshop owned by a white family. Her duties involved shelving books, cleaning, sewing, and childcare. Her employers allowed her to stay at the bookstore and read once her tasks were done. She spent as much time there as she could, discovered poetry volumes on the shelves, and became captivated by them. Frances began experimenting with writing her own verse and found a new creative pastime. At the age of 20 in 1845, she published her first book of poems titled Forest Leaves. It was an ode to her childhood love of nature. Thus began a lifelong career of writing poetry, prose, short stories, and her most famous work, the novel Lola Leroy, or Shadows Uplifted, originally published in 1892 and republished by Beacon Press in 1987. This became the first novel published by an African-American woman. It depicted the life of African Americans in the Reconstruction-era South and grappled with issues of identity and self-determination.
With parallels to today's kidnappings of even birthright and naturalized citizens, as well as documented and undocumented immigrants, the Federal Fugitive Slave Act of 1850 forced her to move from Maryland or risk being enslaved. By 1854, Maryland itself had passed laws allowing slave traders to sell any black person caught entering Maryland into slavery, regardless of their status. Frances became a teacher of domestic silence at Union Seminary in Ohio and an elementary school teacher in Pennsylvania. Her work with the Underground Railroad brought her to Philadelphia, where she initially stayed with the family of abolitionist William Still to lecture for the Pennsylvania Anti-Slavery Society. She thus expanded her career to include activism and traveling as far as north as Canada to educate large audiences. During these travels, it is known that on more than one occasion she refused to give up her place on a railroad car. The New York Times detailed one instance in which a conductor on a horse-drawn trolley tried to expel her from the platform of the car because of her race. In a letter to a friend that was published in 1858 in The Liberator by abolitionist William Lloyd Garrison, Harper recounted what happened next. I did not move, but kept the same seat. When she got up to leave, the conductor refused my money and I threw it on the car floor as I got out, after I had ridden as far as I had wished. She also took part in and advocated for what was called the free produce movement. This referred to a boycott of products which would have been produced by slave labor.
In 1860, Frances married Fenton Harper, a widower with 3 children. The couple had one daughter together, Mary Harper. Around that time, Frances wrote the short story, The Two Offers, recognized as the first short story published by an African-American woman. In it, she wrote, "Every mother should be a true artist who knows how to weave into her child's life images of grace and beauty, the true poet capable of writing on the soul of childhood, the harmony of love and truth, and teaching it how to produce the grandest of all poems, the poetry of a true and noble life." After her husband died and the Civil War was over, she returned to lecturing. She was acknowledged as a masterful orator displaying penetrating insight. She toured the South and as far as west as Iowa, encouraging education for freed slaves and aiding in Reconstruction. She waged a dual campaign for women's suffrage and civil rights for all. During this time, she also became a leader in the temperance movement.
The African Methodist Episcopal Church was the church that Harper had been raised in. She engaged in charitable works and taught in Sunday school there. Harper first became acquainted with Unitarians before the Civil War due to our support of abolition and the Underground Railroad. Through friendship with another black abolitionist and educator who was also a Unitarian, Harper and her daughter joined the First Unitarian Church of Philadelphia in 1870, while she still maintained her relationship with Mother Bethel AME Church.
Her reasons for joining the Unitarian Church may have been partly political, although she had had personal and professional contacts in both Black and white communities ever since her first book of poems was published. Many doors remained closed to her. In a society where color lines were clearly drawn, a Unitarian church provided a rare opportunity for the races to meet. The Unitarians she knew could help to advance the causes she supported in places she could never go. It is reported that she gave readings at the church of her poetry, but there is also some evidence in her writings that once a member, Harper enjoyed the relative freedom the Unitarian Church allowed for comparative religious learning, questioning, and discussion. She was a lay leader within the congregation, and when she died, her funeral service was held there.
Frances spent the last years of her life traveling around the country, speaking for women's rights, racial equality, education, morality, temperance, and against lynching. Her speeches often shared a common theme, her belief that if people could look beyond skin color and gender to discover their common interests as humans, America would be a happier and more stable society. Her fame and audiences grew. She inspired many women to form their own political advocacy clubs, which were often named in her honor. Although she shared the same stage with Frederick Douglass and Susan B. Anthony, Frances Harper's work and activism were largely forgotten after she died in 1911, until scholars and UUs resurrected her legacy over the past 40 years. She is being remembered and celebrated during this bicentennial of her birth, including through a year-long commemoration at Pennsylvania State University, culminating this weekend in a symposium on her life and her work.
I Thank Thee by Demetrius Robinson has lyrics adapted from a letter Frances Ellen Watkins Harper wrote to Harriet Beecher Stowe, thanking her for Beecher Stowe's groundbreaking work on her novel, Uncle Tom's Cabin.
Morning, church. It was September 1992 at First Unitarian Church in Philadelphia. A woman was dressed in the fashion of the 1800s. She stood before an audience, transfixed, as she recited in a strong and vibrant voice the writing of Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. I was in that audience. I had never heard of Frances Harper. I had barely met any Black Unitarians at all. At the time, I was the only person of African American descent who regularly attended the UU Community Church of Santa Monica. As much as I enjoyed the services, it felt isolating. So it was comforting and affirming to be a participant at the historical First Continental Congress of African American UUs, who had organized this dramatic reading, part of a weekend-long convening, along with several partners, including Mother Bethel African Methodist Episcopal Church of Philadelphia. I found out I wasn't alone, and that there is a long history of Black folks within the UU Church. Through the maintenance of her membership in both the Unitarian and AME churches, Frances Harper has been a model to me of building relationships among diverse communities. I've had to very carefully navigate white and Black spaces my whole life. The Neighborhood People of Color group here has helped me to do that within this congregation. When I found out that Harper had helped found the precursor to the National Council of Negro Women, I joined it out of curiosity several years ago. This is a legacy organization like the NAACP. I'm still a member there and have enjoyed friendships, connections, and many events as a result. Among the many topics Frances Harper wrote about was truth. She said, "A truth dropped in the silent earth may seem a thing of little worth, till spreading round some mighty wrong, it saps its pillars proud and strong, and o'er the fallen ruin weaves the brightest blooms and fairest leaves." And now, church, I would like to suggest that if you like, you can take a deep breath with me and place one hand over your heart and one hand over your belly as I talk about a difficult truth that visitors and new members likely don't know. The Truth and Reconciliation Committee here at Neighborhood took on the tragic truth that one of its prominent leaders and other well-known Unitarians from the early 1900s through the 1940s promoted the junk science of eugenics to rationalize that only certain human beings should be allowed to reproduce. This leader publicly supported forced sterilization of marginalized people. Over 20,000 of these horrific acts of reproductive injustice continued legally in the state of California into the mid-2000s within state and county-run health and mental health facilities, as well as most recently in its jails and prisons. Over 60,000 occurred nationally. How very appropriate that our recipient of Share the Plate this morning is Planned Parenthood. I'm so glad you're here. But the good news is, After a lengthy truth-telling process, the congregation voted to change the name of the dining room in the neighborhood house to stop honoring a promoter of crimes against humanity by renaming it the Remembrance and Renewal Room. Other organizations have followed suit, including Caltech and the public middle school that my daughter went to. Through grants obtained by Reverend Dr. Teresa Cooley, our former interim senior minister, and Luis Sierra Campos, our former social justice coordinator, supplemented by the Racial Justice Endowment Fund, started by our friend and fellow member Clyde Derrick, and contributions from you, the congregation. The committee has now commissioned an artist to interpret and memorialize what happened to victim survivors. Frances Harper is among a long line of activists who spoke truths that many people did not want to hear. Her descendants include everyone from the journalist Ida B. Wells in the 1890s to the Unitarians of the Black Affairs Council of the 60s and early 70s, to the founders of today's Black Lives Matter movement, and to our departed friend and member, Irene Berkner, who informed our congregation of this sad history back in 2017. Now we are living through times when the current administration and its enablers are telling lies and suppressing truths about our history by changing signage at national parks, censoring our museums, and even attempting to mainstream eugenics again. There are actually even some who are trying to take away from women the right to vote so that only a male head of household can vote. As a founding member of the American Women's Suffrage Association, Frances Harper labored for women's right to vote, even though she did not live to see it happen. The work of the Truth and Reconciliation Committee has now become a newly needed act of resistance. Please come to our table outside on the patio after this service. We can explain our work in more detail and tell you about a workshop being led by our commissioned artist on November 9 of this year, to be followed next year on March 29 for the unveiling of her work. We need people to help with both of these events, so there's an opportunity for you to be involved in these wonderful events. Frances Harper was deeply committed to activism rooted in her true Christian faith, and a faith that she could make things better in the future through her present-day actions. Besides having named my daughter for her, she is a model for me as a faith-rooted activist. And now that we are all feeling and seeing the impact of profound injustices, Frances Harper can be a model for all of us to build relationships and root our pro-democracy and patriotic work in our UU values, religion, faith, and spirituality.
Please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our closing hymn, number 121, We'll Build a Land.
Oh, we'll build a
I am so thrilled to be here with you all today on this day of testimony, of resistance, and of song, invited guests here, and our choir. In the words of Frances Ellen Watkins Harper from the Songs for the People, our world, so worn and weary, needs music, pure and strong, to hush the jangle and discords of sorrow, pain, and wrong. Music to soothe all its sorrow, till war and crime shall cease, and the hearts of men grow tender. Girdle the world with peace. May it be so.